So, in our last podcast, we went over some of the areas that Upwork needs to improve to have an overall better experience for freelancers and for clients. But in this podcast, we wanted to go over why Upwork is successful. And this is important to understand, especially as freelancers, because if you can understand how a platform works and what makes a platform successful, you can actually lean into those traits and exploit those things to increase the amount of money you make and the amount of success that you actually have on the platform. So, as freelancers, it's really important that you understand what makes a platform work. So, in this podcast, we're going to go over why Upwork is generally speaking the best freelancing platform for clients and for freelancers out there on the market today. So, Jessica, let's talk about one of the biggest reasons why Upwork is successful, and that would be search engine optimization.
Yes, so Upwork has a pretty strong handle on SEO from two perspectives. So the first perspective is when you are Googling a freelancer's name and they have a top rated Upwork profile, their Upwork profile will show up in the search results, which can be beneficial for many different reasons. And then the second reason is that if you're searching for a specific type of freelancer, let's say you're looking for like a graphic designer on Upwork, you can Google that and Upwork will show up on the first page with a link to graphic designers in the area.
Yeah, this is actually a huge deal if you're a freelancer because what this means is because Upwork is consistently in those top search results when clients are looking for freelancers, that means that if you can actually invest your time into building your Upwork profile and then building that history and building those reviews and building that earnings on Upwork, what that means is that if you invest all of that time into Upwork, you can basically backpack off of their SEO ranking as a freelancer. So instead of having to, I don't know about how many people out there know how hard it is to rank on Google, but it's extremely difficult. It's extremely time consuming. It costs a lot of money. And so if you invest your time and effort into building your Upwork profile and you build a profile that has a lot of history and a lot of earnings and a lot of five-star reviews, what that means is essentially you can backpack off of Upwork's SEO ranking. And if you build your profile strong enough, basically your profile will be in the top search results on Google all over the world. That is insanely valuable. That is ridiculously high leverage as a freelancer. And so that's something that you can take advantage of if you put in the time and effort into ranking on Upwork.
So, as a marketing professional, I understand how difficult it can be to get a first page ranking in terms of SEO. I also have some friends who are very knowledgeable when it comes to SEO, and I know how much work goes into keywords, backlinks, SEO optimization on your website. There's so much work that goes into it. So, if you can take advantage of Upwork's SEO, that is going to save you so much time, energy, and effort.
Yeah, and so just a little more insight into how that actually works on Google. When a client is searching for freelancers, they're probably going to type in service freelancer, and then Upwork is usually going to be in the top two results. And what Upwork does is that they actually aggregate the top five freelancers in whatever search result the client is looking for in that unlogged in state. So you will usually see a result like top five freelancers in the city that you're Googling for that service. And so the client will click on that link and they'll see five or maybe even 15 profiles in a grid with a nice big profile photo with your specialties. And they'll be able to see a little bit of insight into your job history, your earnings, and your job success score. And so these clients are getting a first impression of you that is pretty strong because of all that social proof that Upwork provides. That is just an insanely valuable thing to have. And it's definitely one of the reasons why Upwork is one of the top freelancing websites, if not the top freelancing website in the world, is their ability to consistently rank on Google.
The next reason that Upwork is one of the best freelancing platforms out there is because of their design. They have a really clean, modern, minimal design that looks super professional, looks a little bit more high end when compared to other freelancing websites such as Fiverr. Upwork just does a really good job with kind of that user interface and making it really easy to sift through freelancers and to really navigate the platform.
Yeah, I think Upwork's design is another huge reason they're so successful, and their user experience. I think what Upwork does that is better than other websites is that they put a little more emphasis into highlighting freelancers versus highlighting a massive grid of freelancers. What I mean by that is that if you make a search for a service on Fiverr, what you see is a giant grid, maybe 20 or 30 boxes wide of thumbnails essentially of that service. And it just seems to me like Upwork gives the freelancer a little more well deserved recognition. It gives the freelancer more space on their website. And it's not kind of placing all the freelancers as 10 by 10 pixels and putting you in a part of a massive grid of other freelancers. I think what Upwork is doing is that they're placing more value in individual freelancers than other websites do, and I think that that kind of leads to more respect in the relationship between clients and freelancers, because you're not just one in a million, you are your own individual freelancer. And Upwork is not sort of minimizing your profile. They are trying to showcase as many things that they can about who you are, what makes you unique, what are your qualifications. And I think that is a reason Upwork is one of the best designed freelancing websites out there.
Yeah, when you go on Fiverr, you see like this huge grid of services, and unconsciously, it just makes me think these are commoditized services, which maybe some of them are commoditized, but it's the freelancer is just as good as their service. It doesn't put the emphasis on the actual freelancer, their skill sets, what they can bring to the table. It's just their service and what they can provide. And it just feels a little bit more transactional than compared to Upwork.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a fundamental difference in approach. I think Upwork puts more emphasis on the individual freelancer, and other websites put more emphasis on what is the service and what is the price. I think Upwork takes a better, more high end approach, and that leads to a better relationship and more earnings for freelancers with clients. Also, when it comes to design, I think the profiles themselves, the freelancer profiles, are really well thought out. You've got the profile photo, you've got the title and the description, and then you've got that profile video right up there. So, one of the first things that clients will see. And I think that the way that they've laid out the freelancer profile really helps the client feel like they can build trust with you, because there's so many different things that they can go down, and it all kind of makes sense chronologically from a top down perspective, that I think the design of that was well thought out. And that brings us to our next point, which is related to the design of the website, and that would be credentials. The emphasis on credentials, the way that they provide a lot of ways to prove that you are who you say you are, you have the skills that you say you do, and you have the experience with real clients, with real budgets. I think the way that Upwork provides a million different ways to prove your credentials is another reason they're successful.
And going off of that, Upwork provides many opportunities to add credentials to your profile. So if you show up and you do amazing work for clients, you deliver a top tier service, you get those 5-star reviews, you can get these badges and you can move up the totem pole if you do a really good job. So I think Upwork does a great job of providing opportunities for freelancers that take it really seriously.
Yeah, so really what this all boils down to is the idea of transparency. And this is really where Upwork excels, is the idea of providing ample information to both sides of the equation, the freelancer and the client. So Upwork is not a cut and paste service like a lot of other websites are. This is a relationship between two high end parties. And so, what Upwork does really well is it provides information about the client to the freelancer, and it provides information about the freelancer to the client. Both parties should be able to see, okay, what kind of other projects is the client hiring and leaving reviews about? And the client should be able to see the reviews that the freelancer is receiving as well. So the fact that both parties receive reviews and those reviews actually have weight versus on a lot of these high volume websites like Fiverr, I don't give a crap about these reviews. I mean, yeah, they have a little bit of value, but I think the reviews on Upwork have a lot more value than they do on other websites, and that goes into the overall size of the projects on Upwork are higher, and the value of each contract is higher. And so when the value of the projects is higher, the weight of the reviews matters more. And so the fact that you can see where a client lives, what is their time zone, what is their average history, what is their average review score, that's all really important for providing a level of trust on the website between both parties.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's one of the things I look at when a client sends me a direct message on Upwork. I immediately look at the reviews because I want to know, who am I potentially working with here? Who am I going to be dealing with? And I want to know what their reviews look like. And that's going to give me so much insight to the type of person that I could be working with. So I love that Upwork has that feature available just to make it transparent for both sides, for the freelancer and the client.
Yeah, and the other thing they show you is what do they pay on average as an hourly rate? So you can very quickly see like, okay, is this client actually paying rates that I am willing to charge? Or are they kind of going after a lot of the lower end freelancers and maybe they're not the best fit for me because this client is really used to paying, $10, $15 an hour. Just providing that level of transparency is extremely important, and that's one of the reasons why Upwork is one of the best sites out there.
So, the next reason that Upwork is the best freelancing platform out there is because of this concept of communication. Upwork is built on communication. And I love that emphasis because if you're a top tier freelancer, you know the importance of soft skills. You already know the importance of good communication, and you can use that to your advantage. When you compare that to a platform such as Fiverr, where there's very minimal communication, it's very transactional. Maybe you see a project that you want, you order it, and maybe you get a confirmation from the freelancer, some updates here and there, and then you close out the project. There's not a lot of room for communication. And I think that is so important, especially when you're working with clients on bigger projects. Long term projects, communication is key, and Upwork is very dedicated to that.
Yeah, and that ties right into our last point, which is just the overall sort of culture of the website. So I think Upwork has a culture, and some of you might disagree, but from my experience, Upwork has a culture of the journey on Upwork is a race to the top of the mountain and it's not a race to the bottom. So, what I mean by that is, yes, when you're starting on an Upwork, you can't charge as much as you would like to, probably because you don't have any job history, you don't have the reviews. But once you start getting traction on Upwork, you're climbing up the mountain, you're going up the hill, you're not racing to the bottom in terms of your rates. Upwork is promoting, you've got the talent badges. So you're rising talent and then you're top rated and then you're top rated plus. And the more of these sort of things that you earn, and Upwork really does a good job of displaying these credentials on your profile, the more of those that you earn, the more easy it is for you to raise your rates and earn more. So it's not a race to the bottom because the more success you have, the more money you make over time. And Upwork does a really good job of, yeah, they will give the client an option between, they let you filter out high-end freelancers or filter for high-end freelancers. But Upwork does a really good job of promoting high-end talent to high-end clients. So I think that the journey from what we've seen is a very positive one on the long-term scale. And the rates that you can make on Upwork consistently get higher over time as long as you are flexible and you understand your market and you focus on serving the highest end clients.
One other point I'll make along those lines is that if you play the long game, if you play the long game with Upwork, you will be rewarded. I mean, Tyler and I both started at the bottom with 0 reviews, and we were both able to get expert vetted, which took a lot of time, energy, and effort, but we were patient and we played the long game and we were rewarded for that. So we have to give that a mention.
Yeah, and Upwork provides you the tools to stand out. They provide the ability to have a profile video that is front and center on your profile. And guess what? 90% of freelancers still haven't taken advantage of that feature. So Upwork is giving you everything that you need to be a high-end freelancer and to stand out and to outcompete. It's just a matter of, are you willing to put in the work to actually get those things done and actually take advantage of these features? And you can really stand out. Upwork gives you the ability to stand out versus on other websites, you're just one in a million on that grid. You're just a commodity on a giant spreadsheet essentially. Whereas Upwork lets clients search for high-end talent. They encourage clients to hire high-end talent. And if you stay on the journey and you stay invested in Upwork and you earn your badges and you really stick with it and you stay adaptable and you look for ways to stand out, it is not a race to the bottom if you have the right mindset.
I completely agree. And the one last thing I'll say about why Upwork is the best freelancing platform out there is because it's the top freelancing platform out there. And so you have the opportunity to get connected to so many amazing clients. Like we're talking big names are on Upwork. You can find them. You got to be strategic, but they are on Upwork. I mean, some of my clients I would have never, ever been connected with unless I had an Upwork profile, unless they went on to Upwork to seek out a professional. So there's just a huge client pool on Upwork. So hopefully that gives the freelancers out there hope that there are high value clients on the platform.
There are a lot of high-end clients, and guess what? These high-end clients aren't so much concerned with how many volume of projects you've been able to earn. They're concerned with hiring the best talent. So as long as you have a couple reviews and your work is top tier, you can close very high-end clients with very little job history. You just need to really make sure your profile is premium from top to bottom. It's not so much about having to be on the platform for 5 years before you start earning good money. If you position your profile the right way and into the right niche, you can, get off to the races really quickly and you can make really good money with really shockingly large clients on Upwork.
So, what do you think about the points that we made today? Do you agree? Do you disagree? We would love to know. So, feel free to leave us a comment. And if you are a freelancer and you're looking for some one on one support, some one on one guidance, feel free to reach out. Tyler's email address will be in the description, and we will see you in the next one.